Is there a correlation between exercise, protein supplements like whey protein and hair loss?
Yes.
If they try to supplement the entire protein need through whey protein only, is it the right?
No, that is not at all required. Sometimes people do, they take around 10 times or 8 times more than what is required, just because they feel that this should suffice their whole protein requirement. And if they do that, then they will have hair loss also.
And as you have said, we can make this whey protein at home also, or do we need to take the supplements only?
There was a study and it was found that the commercially available whey proteins, they were adulterated up to 28% by those substances which are harmful to the person who is consuming it.
Whey protein powder and hair loss. This is the today's topic of discussion of today's podcast. This is a very common question which layman people also ask, and we have a lot of patients who either planning a hair loss treatment or a hair transplant treatment. They have this concern that what should they be taking, what kind of protein supplements, is whey protein good or bad for the hairs, and all these questions. So on this question, we have Dr. Preeti Saraswat with us, who is going to talk about this. She is a lead developer of products for Twacha by Saraswat and a very senior hair loss, hair transplant and a skin specialist in this field for more than a decade. She has done a lot of research, and I would say she has read almost everything about this topic from various resources, and this is the knowledge today we are going to share with all our viewers out there. So welcome, Dr. Preeti, on this very interesting topic. I'm sure this is going to be very interesting for a lot of people, and since we get to see a lot of patients about this.
That's right.
Let us start first with what is whey protein. So Dr. Preeti, please tell us about what is whey protein. I mean some basic facts about whey protein to us and our viewers.
So let us first understand what is whey protein. Whey protein, as the name suggests, comes from whey. What is whey? When you have milk and you have separated your curds from it, so like little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet eating her curds and whey. So the curds and the whey. So the curds are casein protein and the whey is whey protein. So this is a fundamental thing which everyone should understand, that whey protein comes from milk. So when you separate the curds and you have that liquid portion left, and you keep on, heating that liquid so that it becomes more and more semi-solid, and then you leave it on a parchment paper, and then it gets a bit solidified. You can actually break it, and in a blender you can have a powder. Again, you can somewhat dry it out, and then you have the whey protein powder. This is what is whey protein powder. So you have whey protein powder also, you have whey protein isolate also, and a few other things.
Okay. So Dr. Preeti, apart from this, would you like to discuss different protein sources and different dietary supplements which are available? Would you like to talk about all these things also? Like apart from whey protein also, there are others kind of supplement also available in the market.
Yes, so only a couple of days back I had a patient who brought a plant-based protein powder to me. He said, "Doctor, just have a look at it and tell me whether I can take this or not." So that was a pea-based protein. So apart from whey protein, the things which are commercially available, the protein powder, the dietary supplements which are commercially available are pea protein powder, plant-based, then they are soy protein powders, chickpeas-based powders.
What about sattu?
Oh yes, sattu is an indigenous protein powder, I can say, from India. It is something which is available in every home. Right. So sattu is chickpeas or Bengal gram, roasted Bengal gram powder. And there has been a lot of talk about it in the recent times, whether we can take sattu in place of whey protein as a protein supplement.
What do you say about that? Can we supplement it?
Yes. So sattu being a Bengal gram based powder, it is said to be very rich in proteins, but the plant sources, they are somewhat deficient in the sulfur containing amino acids. Okay. So as we all know, everybody knows that there are 20 amino acids which are important, out of which there are 9 which are essential amino acids. So these 9 are those which are not manufactured inside our body. They're not made in us.
We have to take the supplement.
Yeah, dietary supplementation through food is necessary. So in that, there is one known as methionine, especially, which is sulfur based, and it is deficient in sattu. But then there have been a lot of studies about it, there have been a lot of publication, and then we know now that if we combine sattu with different other things like quinoa powder, or which is in India, we can have ramdana or cholai or amaranth. They all are the same and they are a part of the millets.
Right.
So if you combine sattu with amaranth powder, the deficiency of methionine is done with, and then you can have it. But then again, there is something to be which I must say here, that in sattu the protein is to carbohydrate ratio is 20:60. So the amount of carbohydrate is quite a lot. So when you drink it, you need to take a larger portion.
And is the protein which is available, is it a sort of a good protein?
Yes.
And the carbohydrate, is it the one which suddenly, like the refined flour, maida, which we call, the protein or the carbohydrate we get from the sattu, is it the same kind of carbohydrate which increases glycemic index and increases obesity, or is it somewhat different than that?
Yes, so the carbohydrate which we get in sattu is a complex carbohydrate. It raises the sugar in a slow pattern, so it doesn't shoot up the glycemic index.
Okay.
So you can be, it satiates you for a longer period of time, and that way it is very good for health. And it's a whole food fit for full of protein and nutrition.
Okay, so you mean to say this carbohydrates which we get from sattu cannot cause you things like diabetes or excessive weight gain and things like that?
Yeah, so in a way, the chickpeas based proteins and sattu, and which is Bengal gram derivative, they are important in people who are on diabetic diet. Because because of the low glycemic index and the full of nutrition they are having, proteins, nutrients, other minerals and vitamins, so they are good that way.
Oh, very good. So Dr. Preeti, coming to a very interesting topic, is there a correlation between exercise, protein supplements like whey protein and hair loss? So this is a very important topic I want you to talk about.
Yes, so there have been so many publications and researches all over the world regarding this, because it's a topic, it's something which is so much talked about. People have different notions in their mind. So if somebody is already losing hair, they are already DHT, the levels of DHT are high, they are genetically susceptible for hair loss, and they are doing intense exercise. So first of all, it is now known that during the bouts of exercise, if you are doing intense exercise, your testosterone spikes up.
Testosterone levels go high.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Then if you are taking whey protein, and that too a little bit more towards the more side.
Higher
so I'll
side.
tell you how much is high.
Okay.
So if you are taking a higher amount of whey protein, so the whey proteins, they are rich in branched chain amino acids, BCAA, which are leucine, isoleucine and valine.
Okay.
So these amino acids, they repair the muscle mass, the damaged muscle, very fast. So they also give a boost to testosterone when they are acting. So again, the DHT is going to increase.
Because the testosterone will convert to 5-DHT.
Yes. Yeah. And even if the patient is on finasteride, as we know, finasteride is a DHT blocker given for hair loss. And we also know that finasteride blocks around 70 to 80% of the enzyme and not 100%. Not even dutasteride does that. Yeah. Not even dutasteride does that 100%.
Right.
So these spikes will increase DHT and the patient may have further hair loss.
Okay. So there is a direct correlation between excessive whey protein
Yes,
and the hair
and
loss.
hair loss, and in those people who are already genetically susceptible. So somebody who's not experiencing any hair loss, if they are taking the whey protein in moderate amounts, they may be gaining benefit out of it. They may have good hair and good skin because of the whey protein they are taking. But if they are taking large amounts and they are already susceptible, then they may show a direct connection between the timing of when they start the whey protein and then they start having hair loss.
So the takeaway is, if a person has a family history of hair loss, they have that baldness gene running in their families, and if they are taking whey protein, they are more susceptible, especially if they are taking in the higher quantity. So this is a sort of a take-home message. But if you are not susceptible, whey protein per se on its own cannot cause hair loss for you. So Dr. Preeti, how would you quantify this as a small quantity, moderate quantity, and large quantity of whey protein?
So you see, in a normal person who's not exercising much, the normal how much they require protein, that would be around 0.8 grams per kg weight. So suppose we take X person who is 75 kilograms, so he may be needing 60 grams of protein.
Okay.
Out of that, if he takes one scoop, which may provide from 25 to 30 grams
The standard scoop size.
Yes, that scoop comes with the protein powder dabba only.
Right.
So if he takes one scoop, it may give him 25 to 30 grams of protein. That would suffice, and that would give enough branch chain amino acids to
Repair the muscles.
repair. Yeah. Suppose they are doing a little bit more exercise, they may be requiring 1.5 grams per kg body weight. And if they are doing intense exercise, they may require around 1.8, but always less than 2
1.8 grams per
kg body weight.
Okay.
Yes.
So this has to be quantified from a person to person.
Yes, according
And
to
whey
the
protein,
exercise.
Whey protein, like how much is the whey protein? Like if they try to supplement the entire protein need through whey protein only, is it the right way or is it not the right way to do?
Yeah, so actually they can do that. Suppose they are they fall in the category of 0.8 grams per kg body weight, and they want to take one scoop per day. It is okay, because then there are different things they can consume in order to reach the level of 60 grams per day.
Not if a whey protein alone, should it be taken as the only source of protein?
No, that is not at all required. And besides, if they take that much of whey protein, which actually sometimes people do, they take around 10 times or 8 times more than what is required, just because they feel that this should suffice their whole protein requirement. And if they do that, then the amino acids in it, the branch chain ones, they can take the testosterone spike, and then they will have hair loss also. So the quantity has to be reduced up to a minimum, say 1 scoop a day.
Right.
And also other proteins can be used along with the food
to fulfill the need of the protein supplement.
Yes.
That whey protein should not be the only supplement. You should try to take a sort of diversified bowl of proteins.
Yes. So they can consume legumes, lentils, soy proteins, then from chickpeas. Also, they can consume dairy products. Yogurt and cheese. So the dairy products also contain all 9 essential amino acids.
Okay.
So they are also, and egg is the standard protein. Egg is the standard protein with which every other protein is, measured. How is the standard protein?
Okay. So the need will vary according to the kind of exercise a person is doing.
Yes.
Moderate or a sort of normal, like I don't do a lot of exercise, so I don't need a lot of protein, especially this kind. And if a person is just keeping himself fit, not doing very vigorous this thing, his requirement will be on the lower side, the protein levels. And if a person is doing an excessive gymming, bodybuilding, cardio, everything like he's doing, his protein requirements are going to vary to repair the muscle which is being sort of broken down during the exercise, as well as to strengthen them also. So that that's I think it's a very informative kind of thing. And as you have said, we can make this whey protein at home also, or do we need to take the supplements only?
Yeah, so it's a very important question, because you see, the dietary supplements available in the market, there was a study, And then it was found that the study was done in 12 countries. And it was found that the commercially available whey proteins they were adulterated up to 28%.
Oh, that's a great number.
Yeah, up to 28% by those substances which are harmful to the person who is consuming it. What are those substances? So that those were anabolic steroids and other cardiovascular damaging things which a person did not know they were consuming when they were consuming that whey protein. So when this study was done and this was found, people thought of started making whey protein in their own household also, because it is very easy to make. So once you have taken the curds off, you have the liquid, and there comes a desiccator in the market also, which makes the protein powder, whey protein powder, or you can do it on your own stove.
Wow.
You can always do it.
It's a really great info, but I'm sure there must be many companies providing standardized, purified, and quality kind of protein supplements also.
I hope
but
so.
I'm shocked that the number of adulteration is so
Yes,
high.
it was a shocking news to everyone.
Okay, so I think viewers have to find out the quality of the protein supplement they are taking, the company which is providing there are a lot of websites available which can tell you about the purity of the protein supplement you are taking. If you find it difficult to make it on your own, you rely on the quality products. So here we have seen, and we have Dr. Preeti has told us about uh, the effect of protein supplements in hair loss patient. If you are susceptible, then the chances with all these protein supplements will be higher that your testosterone will get converted into 5-DHT more, and your hair loss can get exacerbated, especially if you are taking in very high amounts. If you have any questions about this topic, please do feel free to mention in the comment section below, or to call us on the numbers given in the link, so that if you have any specified or your personalized questions, we will try to answer that also. And this was a very informative topic and discussion. Thank you, Dr. Preeti, for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.